Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner Davis.
And a mighty good evening to all viewers, and a mighty good evening to you, Miss April Garner Davis. I'm your host.
Thank you, Brother Edward. Good evening to you too.
So I know you've been snowed in, so you said, but we understand where you are. So, but anyway, for our guests must have been snowed in too, because that region was impacted. But anyway, April, philanthropy is the order of the day, and we just wanted to highlight a good example of how important it is. Having philanthropical actions like that, and that hasn't. I don't know if it's resonated as strongly as people would like in terms of contributing to our institutions, our educational institutions, our organizations that in turn have mighty impact on the communities that they serve. And sometimes I don't think that has been propagated to very strongly enough to really get the word out there to them. And so hopefully you will agree with all that. And having said that, this evening we want to share, or we want to have as our guest he's known to some people, but I'm proud to say that he is a native of Conway, South Carolina, and a graduate of Whittemore class of '68. Yeah, none other than Mr. Thomas Latimer, who was set a prime example recently by donating a hefty sum to his college alma mater, which was Johnson C. Smith. And we let the people know that Whittemore prepared them for all of that. And so we like to, by further ado, we'd like to bring on my brother, Mr. Thomas Latimer.
Thank you. It's such a blessing to be with fellow maybe classmates from Conway, and with my blessings and prayers to everyone who's on the call.
Wow. Well, likewise, man. We're so glad to have you, and glad for you to heed the call of our request of having you on there. Your enthusiasm to me was almost groundbreaking about wanting to come on and share your actions. And Mrs. Latimer, Miss Dorothy Latimer, beautifully sitting beside you there. We can see her, and yeah, Thomas, again, as we were talking before the show, that I had met you and Dorothy some time ago, a number of times probably, and it's always a great pleasure, man. So Thomas said, for those who don't know you and your actions that you've recently taken place, could you just share with us a little background on yourself?
Well, I mean, if I guess it starts with the the great education and that I received at Whittemore High School. The teachers we had. I said I've watched RAF 4, funeral on Zoom back in 2025, and he was our homeroom teacher, and the preparation that our faculty, our school provided, it was one of being able to go anywhere and not be a second class person. They instill not only freedom, but a will to achieve. And for us, or for me at the time, once I graduated from Whittemore, Conway as it was at that time did not offer or give me an opportunity to take what I had gathered and gleaned from Whittemore to be able to use it there. And so I was blessed through God by Johnson C. Smith providing a scholarship for me. And the thing about that was that, you know, we had to take the SAT. And when I was taking the SAT, you had to put down 3 schools that you wanted your grades to be sent to. And I can't remember the first 2, but I was searching and I couldn't find. I said, where can I send my third test scores to? And I saw Johnson C. Smith University in Charlotte. I've never been to Charlotte, so I put that on there. And after taking the SAT, they sent me a certificate saying that I had been awarded $3,200 to attend Johnson C. Smith. Well, you know, at that time, you could go to South Carolina State for $800 for the whole year. And here I had a scholarship for $3,200. And in 1968, that was a big thing.
Yeah,
now,
big
I
time.
wasn't academically prepared for that when I went, and because it was an academic scholarship. And so guess what? I kept that scholarship for 1 great year. And after that, my grade point average of being 3.2 was not at 3.2. And I really then had to make a decision. I said, either go forward or stay back. And once the scholarship left, I was fortunate enough to stay out a semester. I went up to New York, you know, worked, saved up about $1,000. And that's, I know today someone said $1,000. Did it take a week? It took a semester, you know, when you were getting paid $5 and $6 and $4 and all that per hour. And so I saved up that money, and I came back to Smith in January, the second semester of my sophomore year, and I paid all of that. And I came to a conclusion then that having this education was very, very important to me. And so with that, I got part-time jobs, did everything, and I was even able to make up the semester I missed by going to summer school. So I ended up graduating, not with my class per se. I didn't march in May, but I had all of my grades and everything else in, so I completed everything in 1972. And so that was one. Then I had my diploma, and I had an opportunity to go out there and work and start making a living. And one thing I would say to the audience, you know, at this time, was that in 1972, a lot of tokenism for people who looked like us was available. I had some interviews with General Electric, and they had offered me a job in Atlanta, and I applied for a job in Charlotte, and I had the job in Atlanta. Also got the job in Charlotte. And so it was going to be about 7 or 8 weeks before they were going to be able to finish the office for where I was going to have my desk. And during that meantime, I was working at UPS doing midnight, just to, you know, living off campus, paying the rent, paying the car payments, everything else like that. And so I said, I'll work for UPS for 6 weeks. And I said, after 6 weeks, I'm going to work for General Electric. And so when I went to UPS, and then I started realizing that my net from UPS was greater than my potential growth from General Electric. So when that 7th week came, instead of me having on a suit and tie, I had my brown uniform on. And so I was doing that work. And one of the things I had said earlier when I had interviewed at UPS, and so if someone doesn't know what that is, that's United Parcel Service. They go by UPS strictly now.
Yeah.
But when one of the interviewers asked me about, you know, going into human resources and IT, and I said, yeah, that sounds great. And they said, well, we don't hire from without, we hire from within. I said, what does that mean? They said, well, you have to drive a package car. I said, sir, I didn't go to school for 4 years to drive some brown package car. But one thing I came to a conclusion on when I realized that my net was greater than my gross for General Electric, I stayed there and used that and became a supervisor and gleaned the work ethic that UPS had. And so after 3 years, I left them and I came back to Charlotte. And when I came back to Charlotte, I knew then that I would not allow a company, a entity to control me, because I saw how they transferred people, not for the good of the person, but for the good of UPS. And so therefore, I ended up purchasing a duplex in 1975 when I came back to Charlotte. And I lived in one side and rented the other side out. Now, it was not on the best side of town. And so the job I had with CMS was kind of a white collar job. And others looked at me when I told them where I lived, but that didn't bother me. I never knew anything about being a landlord at the time. And when I moved there, when we bought the property, we had a tenant next door. And he proved to me, this is not the person that you want to rent to, but my tenant was next door. But I ended up learning the trade. I had my real estate license. I started looking at investment properties. I put in tremendous sweat equity of being able to, I would work during the day. I would be hanging wallpaper at night, putting in ceiling fans at night. Weekends, I would be working on properties and everything else. I took courses in plumbing, in HVAC, in electrical courses, and all of those other things. And that was back in 1975. And today, at the age of 75, many of those things that I learned to do, many of them I shouldn't do them, but I still do those things. And I want to say, you know, the point about giving, and I don't want this to be something that is kind of monumental for whoever may be on the call, because, you know, I retired from my day job when I was 54 years old, and I never looked back. I had a friend who told me, he said, this real estate, Tom, is killing you. You're working too hard. He said, why don't you get someone to run your real estate business, your property management business, and just work your regular job? And I said, well, let me ask you this. The regular job takes 3/4 of my time and gives me 1/4 of my income. I said, the real estate business gives me 3/4 of my income and only use 1/4 of my time. I said, now I'm not really that smart, but which one you think I should give up? So needless to say, I gave up I retired from the job with a full pension for 29 years of work. And Dot and I have been working in real estate all of that time. So the property I purchased in 1975, we still have that same property today. We have a family that's been in there going on 34 years. And so in this twilight of life, we are better prepared to be givers now than we were 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. And for those that may be on this call, that may be my age or younger, normally when you retire, your income goes down. It doesn't go up. And so some of the things that we may be talking about gift giving may not be something that we can do at a large scale, but it's something that still we can do it on a small scale. You know, God measures our heart, not the amount that we're given. So I really want to say that, so that it's not one where it sounds like there's something special with us, with Dot and me, or it's something that's super, that we're that smart. Where we are doing this meeting tonight, or this broadcast, we're in our office at home, and I can tell you we're normally in this office probably at least 10 hours per day, 6 days a week. So we are still grinding, we're still involved in this, but we are at a point now that we can give much more than we ever thought we could ever before, just because of the preparation and how God has prepared us, you know, for this moment. So I'll take a pause.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I think your journey is amazing. Your journey to get where you are today is amazing, and of course, for you to make such a gift to your institution, to Johnson C. Smith. As you saw, April had up on the screen some comments from some people who, well, at least one person who went to Johnson C. Smith, and I thought that was interesting.
His son attends Johnson C. Smith. T.D. Hollins. Thank you for watching tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I got a nephew that's a sophomore there at Johnson C. Smith. My brother Greg, grandson Bernard, he's at Smith now, and so far doing well. He's on the honor roll.
Mm-hmm. Well,
fantastic.
You allowed me to call you Tom, so I'm gonna call you.
Oh,
Tom.
absolutely. I mean, that's what I go by. That's what I go by. Nothing.
So, as Brother Edward said, your story is amazing, and for a number of reasons. You know, there's a lot that you unpack for our listening audience, and I see that people are excited. The comments are rolling in, but they're also sharing with young people who need to hear this message. And the main part of the message that really intrigues me is the fact that although you attended Johnson C. Smith, and most people know that as a four-year university, you mentioned a lot of trades that were actually a part of your educational journey. And of course, that is an area, those industrials, the trades that we are constantly pushing in terms of, you know, making sure that young people understand that there are many options in terms of getting higher education. Higher education is 2-year, 4-year. It's anything beyond high school. It's all the things. And I think that your story also encompasses the idea that, like you said, I love the word preparation, that with preparation, yes, you can have a prosperous life full of successes and learn skills that you will always use. They will transfer, you know, into any area of your life, even your personal home life. So I think there's, you know, wonderful messages inside of what you just shared with us. I want to kind of turn to our conversation that's rooted in not only the importance of giving to sustain these higher education institutions, but also why it is important for people to understand that really the institutions of higher education, especially HBCUs, are right now under constraints and risks for a lot of reasons. And so giving not only sustains the idea of you getting a higher education or somebody, you know, supporting that, but it also sustains a lot of the legacies that are there that are in jeopardy of going away because of a lack of federal funding, and in some, you know, instances, there may be some state funding. Foundations are starting to shift their dollars in different areas. And so the gift that you gave to Johnson C. Smith University, and I don't know if anyone really understands the significance of your gift, you and your wife, Dot, gifted Johnson C. Smith University $250,000. And that is a significant amount of money that will definitely ensure that there are programs and that there are services at that campus that will be sustainable as they deliver education to Black students. It is a historically Black college university. So as you think about what's going on in the landscape of America, why is it especially important to make sure that we pay attention to what's happening at our HBCUs? I'll start there, but also education in general.
Well, the HBCUs, I have other friends, and I had someone who asked me years ago, and he was honest. He didn't look like we look, and he said, he said, well, Blacks now can go to all the other schools. He said, why is there even a need anymore for HBCs? You can go, your kids can go to Carolina, they can go to the other places like that. And in a way, our youngest daughter, she went to Lipscomb, which was kind of a faith-based school. I wanted her to go there because I didn't want the Kappas and the Qs and the Alphas to look at her as new meat. So I wanted to make sure I got her in an insulated environment with that. But because when I went to Smith, I had to learn how to be Black and be proud. When my years in 1968, that's what James Brown said, say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud. The Afros came out. That's when identity came out. And I said, before long, you saw the other people started wearing Afros. You saw them, doing things, that we were doing because now we had been kind of let loose and had that opportunity. And what Smith gave me was not in a textbook. It was living. It was a point that I understood that I could compete with anyone in the world and that I was not a second-class citizen. And that was the teaching that I taught my kids to do. I didn't send them to Smith because I taught them how to be who they are and to be proud of who they were, and that they were not second class to anyone else. And therefore, I sent them to the North Carolina States and the University of Greensboro, because they had that foundation. But many of our families don't have that foundation. And to go to some place, if you were able to play sports, hoorah. But if you just happen to be a student there on that campus and you don't have that foundation of who you are and that you are somebody and that you can be anybody you want to be, if you don't have that, the HBCs are still where you need to be, because that's where you can forget the training. It's the spirit that you can receive there. And if you get the spirit, then you can take the spirit and become and do whatever you want to be. But that spirit is not at University of North Carolina. It's not at Duke. It's not there. It's still, there's still that spirit that exists at HBCs that you cannot get anywhere else other than your parents, if they knew that and they were able to teach you that. I was able to give that spirit to my kids.
Mm-hmm. And I can understand that, the passing of that spirit on to the, incoming students, the spirit that you felt whenever you were a student there, that, like you said, that sense of pride. I'm Black and I'm proud, because, the reality of the times was that there were a lot of institutions where we were not allowed to be. And, and so, I did not attend an HBCU. I'm a product of the University of South Carolina, but What I can say is that I still had even that South Carolina State College pride, in that, there was support there because of the camaraderie that came, from the school. And then, having, been a part of higher education, I can see the importance of trying to ensure that students who need what you described, which is an opportunity to really gain a sense of self, a sense of culture, things that are probably not as prominent at PWIs, and no, backlash to them. But it's also about what the HBCU Foundation means to our culture.
Yeah.
So to support the college in the way that you did, I think is incredible, and certainly a way to honor your journey. And I want to bring up just a second the actual notification that was posted on Facebook on the Johnson C. Smith University's page. And it just really talks about how your generous unrestricted gift to that college is such a significant milestone for that particular university, especially during a time when a lot of HBCUs are struggling to keep the doors open, to keep their accreditation, to make sure that there's funding available for scholarships and innovative programs, and all the things they mentioned here, the campus enhancements and all of that. And so, yeah, your gift definitely means a lot to the university, but it means even more to students who aspire to go to school or to go to college, and they want to go somewhere where they can, actually see themselves on campus, really see themselves on campus. So I just want to, be sure to share that particular post so that everyone could see it. So as you think about how people can become engaged in philanthropy, of course, you've talked about all the things that kind of led to your ability to do that, the preparation that you had. There are definitely other ways to do it, even if people aren't able to give as generously as the two of you have. There's, even the construction of scholarships, and, the sponsoring of students for, various reasons can actually help any individual who wishes to go to college, be it a HBCU or any other institution of higher learning. So it really does make an impact when you're able to understand that you are, as we said in the title, gifting hope for the future of education. And so, as you think about what the community can do, all the communities that are watching right now, what they can do to not necessarily do it the way you did it, but to do something, what's some advice that you can give them if they're just starting now and they're really thinking about how they could possibly give towards education?
One thing I would say, April, is, giving is not a thing. Giving is a life. And, Dot and I, we both have gone to Haiti, and there's a community, a village called St. Philemon. And we were trying to add up tonight. We have been supporting that school in Haiti for well over 20 some years. It's a nutrition program, and it's also one of supporting the teachers. And you can't have one without the others. If you bring the kids to school and they're hungry, then they can't learn.
That's right.
You feed them and they don't have a teacher, then they can't learn. Mm-hmm. And so even now, with our schedule working in the office, we are reading buddies at one of the local elementary schools. That doesn't cost a penny, but it costs time. And so, if someone's looking and say, well, what can I do for the South Carolina States, the Johnson C. Smith, the A&Ts and all that, I say, go, if you have the time, go to an elementary school. Mm-hmm. Find some of our kids that are lagging behind, that can't read on grade level, or be a math buddy for them, or be a lunch buddy for them. Giving isn't always dollars and cents. Mm-hmm. It's your time and your effort, and help these kids, because many of the parents, things in our neighborhood with all of the things that have happened, drugs and all of the other things, our kids now are in greater need than they were when I grew up. We were poor, but we didn't know we were poor.
Right.
And we survived, and we always had dignity, because we were all in the same pot, and there weren't very many big eyes and little U's. But when we go into this integrated society, there are big eyes, and it's easy for you to see that you are a little you. So for the little U's that we still have in grade school, be a reading buddy, be a lunch buddy, do something. If it's a big brother process, find a little brother that you can do something with, volunteer. Those are things that will make a difference in a life that a Franklin and a Jefferson and a Grant will never touch.
Absolutely.
Young man that you agreed with.
Well, we can talk about that later.
Okay.
And you're right. It is that gift of time, and doesn't necessarily have to be, the money as the resource, but time, because, the reality is that for a lot of students, and we're finding that especially young students, they don't have that type of support or enrichment at home.
Right.
So they're getting it at the school, and, anyone who volunteers and who's helping a child to improve their reading or, ability to understand math or what have you, they are actually shaping their minds and preparing them for the future in a way that you can't even put a price tag on.
Amen.
And they will remember that experience for the rest of their lives, that, Thomas Latimer came in and he read to me and I learned X from him, or, Miss Dodd or Mr. McQueen or whomever. So you're right. There are many ways that, philanthropy can exist, just like I believe there are many ways that tithing can exist. Okay.
Amen.
And so, this is wonderful because, there's so many great comments that are coming in that, are that align with what you're saying. Laquanette Brumel, thank you for watching. She says mindset is an important part of one's foundation with that spirit. And, it does go back to what you said about even being proud of who you are as a person. You may be instilling that pride in a godly way. You may be instilling that pride in a young person who could not find the confidence to be proud of themselves, who couldn't, who didn't even understand what that meant until someone showed that they cared. And so, this is definitely a wonderful thing that you all have done for Johnson C. Smith University. And as you say, Smith, Miss Marjorie McIver says that's her alma mater, and she thinks everything. she's watching tonight. You can believe that. She's watching, and she is putting many comments in here relative to what you all are talking about. And so, Brother Edward, I know that there are many things that we always try to focus on in terms of education, introducing people, to different ways that they can impact education, always including history in this broadcast, which is important. And it's safe to say that Thomas and Dot Latimer are Black history, 365.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you are made history. You are Black history walking around.
Absolutely. It seems like Dorothy is waiting to say something. She's
sitting in the cut.
Seems like she just wants to say something. I could be overstating this. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
And so we like I said, wonderful comments coming in. Dr. Eugene Bellamy Jr. says he loved his HBCU experience at the Florida Agricultural and Mechanic University, completing his MED. And Dr. Bellamy is the newest acting executive director and interim principal at the Academy of Hope here in Horry County. And so thank you for watching tonight. We really do appreciate it. So yes, Ms. Dot, I know that you have something that she nudged him though. She's like, let's talk about this and let's talk about that. But we can talk about education all day and the importance of it. And now more than ever, especially with funding cuts that are happening, there are just things that we have to be vigilant about. And giving of time and resources is there are definitely two of the things that will make sure that we keep the doors open for institutions of not only higher learning, but we're talking secondary and post-secondary institutions. And that foundational piece from third grade up, we got to make sure that we keep our eyes on the third grade impact in terms of that pipeline to prison, and making sure that we mitigate or destroy that whole concept by ensuring that our students are on level at starting with the third grade, and that they have the foundation that they need so that they can be successful later on in life. So Ms. Dodd, what do you have to add to that? She does look like she's full of something to say.
You're talking about Conway, but there are many cities all over the nation that are similar to Conway, as is my hometown of Bartow, not having very many opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, I noticed. Yeah. I noticed as part of your narrative in the magazine was that you're from Bartow, Florida, right?
Yes, Central Florida.
Bartow, Florida.
And I too had a scholarship to Johnson C. Smith University.
Oh, really? From Florida? I mean, they communicated with you to Florida. I mean, that's
yes.
Good
Our guidance counselor was very instrumental in getting scholarships for many of us in our graduating class.
And what was your major, Doc?
My major was biology.
Wow.
Oh.
What was your plan? What was your plan as a biology major?
I tell you what, when Tom worked at UPS in Winston-Salem, after I had gotten my degree, I asked the hiring manager at the health department, isn't my degree worth at least $100 a month more? They didn't think so, but you have to just be determined and keep going regardless of what others think.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, congratulations. Look, anybody who can major in biology, you gotta be you gotta be a thinker. I mean, you really gotta be on your toes. So congratulations to you on that, and also to you, Brother Thomas. The now your one of your siblings. I just want to veer off a little bit. Thomas, you and Dot have one daughter. I know you. I think a total of 3 children, but one that I think I saw it at her graduation. What's the name? Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany who just became was she now a major recently?
Lieutenant Colonel. She was
Lieutenant Colonel.
Yeah, she was promoted 2 Fridays ago to a lieutenant colonel.
Wow!
Congratulations! That's
Congratulations! I hope she's listening tonight or looking this evening.
Hey, I'm not sure, because she's in Austin, Texas, and their time is different. And now that she's in this new position, our government is very reaching as to her time and how she can use it. But we are blessed for anyone on here, that can just see what giving of yourself is the greatest gift that we can ever give. And again, I don't want it to be one about dollars and cents. I had said when Smith came to me and asked us about making a gift, and I said to them, we have prepared to do this, but at a later time. I said, I don't want you to cut the apple tree down to make this happen now, when we are still growing the apple tree to do greater things later on in our life. but if this is necessary for our school to survive and to do something, then we will, we'll take the apples off the tree now and do this, but we're still planning on much greater things for them as our life continues.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a pharmaceutical major in college, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, Brittany. Yeah, she majored in. She was in the inaugural class at Lipscomb University. And the thing about it was, when she decided to be a pharmacist, Lipscomb did not have a pharmacy school. Never talked about having a pharmacy school. And so when she became eligible to go to a pharmacy school, Lipscomb opened up a pharmacy school that following year. So she was in the inaugural class of students going to the pharmacy school. And I mean, everything just fell into line. As you mentioned, my brother Dennis, he was up in the Washington, Virginia area, and he had how many minutes I got? 2?
Oh, you're fine. No, you're fine. Mm-hmm.
But Dennis was having his wife Cindy was giving him a surprise birthday party, and Dot and I and Brittany, we drove up there, and at his party, there were 2 young majors who were married, husband and wife, and I said, "What can you guys do?" I said, and they said, "Well, we recruit medical people for the Army." And I said, "Well, she's in pharmacy school." I said, "What can you do for her?" And they said, "Well, she can come in as a captain." And I said, "You mean a second lieutenant?" They said, "No, she can come in as a captain." And I said, "What else can you do?" And they said, "We can give her $40,000 a year on her student loan." Well, Brittany was building up $160,000.
Mm-hmm.
So when he said that, I said, "Brittany, you need to come here. You need to come here a little closer." Yeah, I said, "Brittany, come here, sweetheart. We need to talk about this." So, so anyway, with God's help, when she finished pharmacy school, she did a year rotation up in New Jersey. And when the Army selected the pharmacists for 2013, they selected 8 for the entire country. And Brittany was one of the 8 that they selected. And I'll say this in tears, only God could have done that, because everything had to fall in place just like that for that to happen. And the thing about it was, my brother Dennis, she wanted to wait a year. She wanted to wait a year before going to pharmacy school. But she ended up graduating in 2012, and she was going in the Army in 2013. Well, my brother Dennis died of pancreatic cancer in April of 2014. If she waited a year, she never would have had that connection that Dennis had. And so I keep telling her, when I went to her graduation, I said, "Girl, you're anointed." I said, "If you don't see God's handiwork in your life, that you're this young and you're already a lieutenant colonel, and you only been in the service 12 years and you're a lieutenant colonel." I said, "Honey, it's nothing but the hand of God has done that." And so we did a scholarship in 2025 for Lipscomb University. As a matter of fact, the president came to our house, and I'm asking, "You came to Charlotte, where are you going?" She said, I'm coming to talk to you guys." I said, we're small people. We're little people. You don't have to, it don't take much for us to be impressed. You can just send us a card or something. And they came and had a fellowship meal with us. And so we were able to do that scholarship, starting that scholarship. But the thing about it is, the military saved Brittany $160,000 in student loan. So for parents who's out here and your kids are going to medical school or something else like that, pharmacy school, instead of trying to get out and get a job for CVS, or instead of, going through your program of working in a hospital, go into the military, and they will wipe your student loans, 100,000, 200,000 or more. They can wipe that out and give you all the training. And if you went in as a doctor, you wouldn't go in as a captain, you would go in as a major. So all of these things are there. We just have to be wise enough and open and have a discerning spirit, so God can allow you to see these nuggets that he puts before us.
Mm-hmm. Incredible pathways to success, and all because the right questions were asked too. I mean, it's important to have that support system. You knew the right questions to ask, to even help, to help create this pathway for her. And that's, again, young people need all of this. They need the support. They need the right people who are advocates for them when they don't know how to advocate for themselves. And so that's another incredible story you shared. Brittany is Black History 365. Black History.
Absolutely.
Black History 365.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So now you all know the impact, Brother Thomas, on Black History, and this is Black History Month. Every month is actually Black History Month, but we'll just go along with the flow for February, and say that it's Black History.
Hey, but they only gave us 28 days, right? So you better. Sometimes 29. So you have to use these 28 days very, very good. Okay.
Very strategically. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well,
but I think we've gotten wise enough now. Yeah, we've gotten wise enough now where it's January through December. So we're hip.
Well, I tell you, you've actually helped us to kick off Black History Month.
Welcome, and please extend our congratulations to Brittany again.
I will.
Yes, you've helped us to kick off Black History Month, and I want to share, just to kind of give you all a moment to catch your breath. I'm going to share some local Black history, which was what we decided to do every week, and during this month is to feature a Black History spotlight or tidbit. You all have helped us to kick off Black History Month. And then we also have a submission that was sent to us by Priscilla Fuller. And so sit back as you learn a little bit about Mr. Reginald Brantley. Does that name sound familiar? Reginald Brantley. Okay, so this is Mr. Reginald Brantley. Local Black History Spotlight tonight is one of our homegrown Conway native who has made major contributions to this community. Sometimes people go quietly in the world and do major work without fanfare. Now that's what the Latimer sound like too. This is our Reginald Brantley, son of Martha and Thales Brantley. Reginald graduated in 1971 from Conway High School and did undergraduate work at Clemson University. He also became the president of the student body while at Clemson. He later went on to law school at Vanderbilt and graduated with a law degree, where he received his law degree. Wow. He subsequently went to work as an administrative law judge in Harlem for the New York State Office of Family and Children's Services, ensuring the safety and services for children. Reginald subsequently went to New York Theological School and became a pastor at the Corona Congregational Church in Queens. He recently retired and has resettled in Summerville, South Carolina, a person of modest standing, making a tremendous contribution to his community. So we want to thank Priscilla Fuller for contributing this spotlight on Black history for Conway native Reginald Brantley.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Brother Priscilla Fuller is one of our contributors to this work on the magazine. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes. That's for Reginald.
Yeah. That's an applause from our audience.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Sherlyn DeWitt, who's watching tonight, she said they gave us 28, but I take 365. Yeah, we're gonna take 365 regardless. We're gonna do that. So, well, thank you, Priscilla Fuller, for submitting that Black History tidbit. And again, if you have a local state, national, global Black History Spotlight that you would like to submit to us, we will definitely read it on the show. We'll take more than one during the course of the show. No problem. Just send them to me. You can reach me on Facebook or go to the World Community Magazine's Facebook page and drop us a line, and we'll be more than happy to share these gifts with the world. So, Brother Edward, this has been
April. We're looking at every broadcast. We just seem to have a Black History tidbit, right?
Yes, every Tuesday this month. Exactly. And but we do it all the time, but particularly this month, we're going to make sure. Yeah, we're going to make sure that we have Black History Spotlight. Yeah. So, well, yeah.
Wow, it's good. To tonight's broadcast with Brother Thomas and Dorothy, really one of our objectives is to not just put the bright light on you all, but that needs to be them. See, that people need to have an expanded thought on the importance of. I'm going to say the simple Joe Sixpack word, giving instead of philanthropy. Okay. I'm just hoping that rubs off on a lot of us. So we have institutions locally and statewide, other institutions that are in need of donors, and people like yourself, okay, who can foresee the future, especially when it comes to our youth, our young people, like you mentioned earlier about elementary students and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just hoping that it rubs off on them, that we can be a bit more vigilant about giving, and try have the ability to look into the future just a little bit more.
Yes, so, absolutely.
That was one of the remarks that just one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it certainly was a pleasure.
So April.
Yeah.
Brother Thomas, we're gonna have you. Well, I would like to have you anyway. I'd like to say that. There's an institution that's, I don't know if April decided to talk about it, but that's dear to our hearts here locally. And I think we mentioned it earlier about the Academy of Hope, one of the places like that. But we're gonna have you. Maybe you can come around and talk, and not just there, but a number of places in Conway and Horry County. And now that you are, the word has gotten out there about the importance of actions like you and Dorothy have done. I don't see why you can be an attractive force to go and encourage people to do things like that themselves. What do you think, Brother Thomas?
Well, if God is the light and he reflects off of us, and so we are called to be, the light of the world, in any place, that I can participate or can go, that brings where we can be the hands and feet of Jesus. I mean, that's what our life is about, going. The scripture said everywhere he went, he did good. And so I think that's something for those who wear his name, is wherever we go, we need to do good. And so if there's an opportunity to share with anyone to help them to be better, that's what I've dedicated my life to, is to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've certainly done a remarkable job, you and Ms. Dot, over the years. The foresight to understand what preparation is all about, and then being able to give back because you've been blessed, is certainly something that everyone needs to hear about as often as possible. And also sharing that there's more than one way of doing it. It's something that should lift us all up, because sometimes people shy away from giving because they feel like the little that they have to give is just not enough. And that is not the case. It really is all about the things that you talked about earlier. And so I know that you said that Brittany is on a different, time in a different time zone, but you can certainly share this broadcast later, because I'm sure she'll be proud of her parents as she watches this broadcast and hears what you've shared with our listening audience and our communities. And so I just want to thank you. And Ms. Dot, even though she's kind of a quiet storm, she's in the background. She'll nudge you every now and again.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being a part of our show this evening and for helping us to kick off Black History Month. And do you all have any other family members, friends, colleagues that you'd like to send a special shout out to before we go?
Well, I want to definitely send one out to my brother Greg and Frank, because again, since 2014, we have recognized either one student or two students per year with the Dennis Latimer Memorial Scholarship. And so, they have been, with us, with me, with that process, and the light is still green of recognizing someone, in the Conway area for an academic scholarship to start off their career. And I appreciate them, doing that, making the sacrifice and seeing the need to elevate someone else. And so I'm thankful for my two brothers.
Yeah. So yeah, we're all on. It's good. So good, man, to have you all come on this evening. I'm still elated over that. And every time I talk with you, I have to think about Dennis, and I hope his wife is doing well. But kind of, and to my co-host April, I don't know if you recall, but Dennis was our medical editor. Oh, okay, good.
Never
good.
met him, but
Fantastic.
Always remember the articles coming in. Exactly.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And so, kudos to the family and to all. Until next week, and just hopefully, again, I hope that. By the way, April, this is recorded, right? So they can see this a week later or something like that.
Oh, they can see it now. They can see it for the next week, but it's always going to be there on our WCM Live YouTube channel.
We'll go back on.
Right, but they can go to WCMmagazine.net and watch this broadcast for the next week. It's also available on our Facebook page until whenever. If there are any viewers who are connected to my page personally or the network or Horry County Black United, you can certainly watch this broadcast. We share it all over the place. So this was some really good stuff tonight. Thank you for all the wonderful comments. We've had viewers from all over the place. A couple of viewers, even from three viewers that I can recognize from the Charlotte area. Josephine Burgos, Yvette Pope. Thank you both for watching. We appreciate it. And of course, all the Conwayites are watching tonight. And we certainly do appreciate everyone for being a part of this and for supporting. And again, an amazing show. Thank you so much to the Latimers for being with us tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, and Godspeed.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for what you do. You have been doing this for a long time, so God bless you.
Yeah, we just want to get the word out there, man. That's all. Mm-hmm. That's just like it's our way of giving back, and glad that you all can be a part of that.
Just little grass. Look, go ahead, Brother Edward.
Right.
Yeah, we're just a little grassroots organization over here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, thank you all. We certainly do appreciate you being with us every Tuesday night at 7 p.m.
And
I think, Brother Edward, you have a lag.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you have a little bit of lag. Thank you all for being with us. Yeah, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Stick with us. Again, if you have any Black History spotlights that you would like for us to share on our next broadcast, please let us know. Till then, visit WCMmagazine.net, where you can not only see this broadcast, but the current magazine featuring the Latimers is available as an ebook on the website as well. So we thank you all for being with us tonight, and Godspeed, stay safe, and we'll see you again next week.
Amen.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook.